What? Listen, the game of the week last week, right? Watching the playoffs is amazing to me, man, because when the Giants and Jets are out of it, I start to lose a little bit of focus towards the middle of the season. End of the season comes up, especially this year. It was just like, yo, I can't watch this shit on the field, bro. Like, but when the playoffs start, the juices start flowing a little bit. It's the games mean something. You know what I mean? I'm putting, my parlay game steps up. You know
Yeah,
what I mean, and
yeah,
all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's cool to see. You know what I'm saying? And probably the biggest game last week was, obviously the Ravens and Bills. To me, that was almost like Super Bowl type shit. You know what I'm saying? The two leading candidates for MVP squaring off face to face. Although we know it's definitely more than just quarterback versus quarterback. There's a whole other 53 guys and coaches and OCs and DCs and special teams guys that that go into winning. But the way they market it is Lamar versus Josh, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's kind of what when the season was winding down. That was kind of like the talk. We did a couple of segments on it. Who should win MVP? Lamar, Josh. We do Saquon in there a little bit, Jared Goff, a couple other guys. But the big guys were like Lamar and Josh. So them facing off in a divisional round was like a really big storyline. And I know the NFL for marketing wise loved that. You know what I'm saying? And then also and
Mhm.
it's also like, listen, there's and we're gonna get into this in a second. We're gonna talk about with Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill is basically saying that society injects race into this MVP Josh Allen versus Lamar shit. And I had to really think about that shit for a minute. And I'm like, yeah, she's right. You know what I'm saying? And I know they call her a race baiter. And I'm not gonna. I don't look. Listen. I don't look at the whole MVP thing race wise, right? You know what I'm saying? Not at all. I was rooting for Lamar versus Josh. You know what I'm saying? Even though we're supposed to be loyal to the soil, I wanted Lamar to get his shit off because when Lamar loses, they're all over him. When Josh loses, they kind of sweep it under the rug a little bit. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? But I was rooting for Lamar for those reasons only. But let me ask you guys this, man. It had the Apollo versus Rocky feel. It had the, Magic Bird type of feel. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say it's race, rooted in racism. But talking to some of my friends, I have white friends, I have black friends, I have Chinese friends, I have I'm like it's a melting pot up in New York City. You're gonna have all the, you're gonna have all the, it's tribalism, of course, but it's ethnic tribalism, but you're gonna have friends outside of your ethnic race most of the time when you live in New York City. And talking to these guys, man, you can see a lot of the white guys kind of rolling with Josh. The brothers is rolling with Lamar. You know what I mean? The Puerto Ricans is over here with Lamar. You know what I'm saying? The other, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna play a clip from her. And then I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think this MVP race is rooted in racism? But let's hear the clip real quick. Here we go.
Have frankly always discussed Lamar Jackson, why would race suddenly be eliminated entirely from the equation when it comes to this MVP race? Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying if Josh Allen wins the award, it's because he's white and people are racist. I would have zero problem if he won it. But there is a theme here of black excellence being taken for granted. And it's not just limited to sports. And sometimes that excellence is used to deny black folks their due.
Jay, let's talk to your boy, man. What do you think? What do you think about this, man?
She elocuted it perfectly. But I think with this particular race, there's three things that are that are being discussed, that are looked at. The first thing is the fatigue factor, because and we discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
UQ and I discussed this a couple of weeks ago. That he's won it, a couple of times now, and it's just, are the voters tired of voting for him? Very
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you saw with the Michael Jeffrey Jordan back in the day with the amount that he had won. I think he won 5, and then it's just, how do we just keep picking the same guy every year? So that's the first part. The second part of it is fanatics. The Bills Mafia has a group of fanatics that are so aggressive that they create a lot of energy surrounding him. And then you have the two fan bases going against one another. So you have the Ravens fan bases and the Bills fan bases that are going. I think at not at a distant third, but at a third, you'll see the racism piece start to kick in. Some people don't view Lamar as a quarterback because he doesn't look quarterbacky. I heard that fucking term.
Exactly that.
You
Yeah.
know, that he doesn't look quarterbacky. But how the fuck should a quarterback look?
Yeah.
How should he look?
I want my
Because
quarterback to look quarterbacky.
Yeah.
That's what she said, right?
Because he has twists and a mouthful of fucking gold. What difference does it make? His performance is above and beyond anybody else in the NFL. Anybody. So if you ask me, there is a layer of that, you know, that underlies and Jamel said it there, you know, like that a lot of the successes that we have always comes at some type of, you have to like add something to it as a black person. Yeah, you know, it's because of, you know, you're adding the running factor to him or whatever it may be. It's just, you can't just say the guy is just the best quarterback in the fucking league and he's the MVP.
Yeah.
Why can't we just say that? Because he has the best
Yeah.
stats.
Yeah.
If you want to go best player on best team, you probably have a better argument because, you know, the Bills did win more games. And I hope that they don't use this game that he just lost to Josh as the springboard to, but I think the voting was already in, if I remember.
Yeah, voting's probably already in. Yeah.
Voting's already in. So whatever it is going to be. But I think that there is a layer of racism that, I don't want to say racism, that race plays a part in this. And I don't think it's racism because I don't think anybody looks at Lamar and says he sucks because he's black or you know, he's not good because he's black. You know,
Is he judged different though? Is the scrutiny a little brighter on him than it is when Josh fails? In your opinion?
Oh well, with that part, yes, but that's not really the question though. The question is the MVP piece. If we're talking about just judging him on his regular season performance, yes, the scrutiny might be a little bit more turned up, but he's done himself no favors because he hasn't performed well in the playoffs. That's you know, that's unfortunate, but that's based on his play. So if we look at it, his shortcomings, we have to look at the playoffs. And in the playoffs, he just hasn't performed. Mm-hmm. So if we look at it that way, then but I don't know that that's really race. I think that's just what the fuck we saw on the field. But I think that we have to overachieve as black people and brown people in order to get the same level of adulation that you may see from a 6'5" white quarterback.
Indeed. Well put. Very well put. Q, what we talking about here?
It's just annoying to see like how they always trying to diversify and still cause some type of segregation, even though segregation is over already. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, why can't people just love football and just be like, all right, that dude was the best. Two great quarterbacks. And let's keep it a buck, because before I even touch on the other stuff, we could just touch about what the MVP is, right? It's the most valuable player, right? For the regular season. Now, if you put up their stats, even Stevie Wonder can see that Lamar Jackson had a way better season than Josh Allen. The only category that Josh Allen had better was rushing touchdowns. But I didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to rush that many touchdowns when you got the second best running back in the league.
Yeah.
You know, to take you down the road. And the second thing is, you know, the Bills won more games. If we want to talk about who won more games now, the Bills, yes, they won a few more games. But you know what else they're in? Probably one of the worst divisions in the AFC East. AFC East isn't that hard. Almost terrible. Almost 75% of the Ravens division almost made it. The Steelers and the Ravens made it. The Bengals almost got in, and the Browns, they didn't. There would have been 3 teams on that whole division that would have made the playoffs, and you telling me he didn't? And that's 6 games.
And the AFC East is even worse.
Like, ain't nobody have a chance to make the playoffs.
The closest team to the Bills is the Dolphins, and they trash. Go ahead.
Yeah, they were in the hunt all season, like with 7 wins. Like, yo, you ain't catching, you ain't winning 3 games in 2 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah. You know, 4 fucking wins the whole. You know, so.
Patriots, full rebuild for the Pats. You know how that go. You know what I mean?
You know, like, and that's what the voting needs to be like. The voting just needs to be like, all right, who benefited, who helped their team in their division and made the most important plays. And man, the stats. You don't have to talk about stats. The dude has a good team, but he also made the right decisions. You know what I mean? You can't just be a bad quarterback and throw 4,000 yards. You know what I mean? You can't be a bad quarterback and throw 40 touchdowns with 5 interceptions or 4 interceptions, whatever crazy shit is. Like, that's wild numbers. And I feel like when you win the Super Bowl, no matter what, I mean, when you win the MVP the year before and you outshine yourself the next year, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna want to win it again. You know what I mean? That's like being like in a corporate company and all right, last year I did this, but this year I did this, so I expect a bigger bonus. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's the only bigger bonus than MVP is winning the Super Bowl, but you know what I mean? I would think that if he was just as valuable in his stats and everything that he did on the field, the leadership and the talent, and making those decisions, being the guy that he is on that field in those crucial moments, playing against the teams that he played in the division that he's in, I think that's what sets the field apart. I think that shouldn't have to really tend to be what the race is. And she touched on a couple of good points because I do agree, and we saw this with Embiid and Jokic. Right, like we saw this with Embiid and Jokic. Like Jokic was just winning it, and it was just reverse. So now we're like, so hold on, wait. But Jokic is over here. He should have won it, but we're gonna give it to Embiid. Like now, why couldn't having and Jokic won it again? Now it's fatigue, but like I don't think at this point it's just whether you're white or black. It's just more of like the fatigue portion. Like now you got to be fair. That's like falling in last place and you still get a trophy when you're in high school. Nah, man. Like you were the worst team, dude. Go get better. Like I don't think people should have that chance to be able to accomplish such a feat when they know they didn't achieve what they should have to overcome, their colleague in the field. You know what I mean? Like we all knew Joker could have won again, and we all know damn sure Lamar could win again. But like she said, I wouldn't be mad if Josh Allen won. But
I would be mad.
I wouldn't be distraught. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a fan of either of the teams. But more point, I would just be a little bit upset and disappointed on the decision and how they still tend to make these decisions based upon the color of your skin, no matter what field you're in, no matter what type of game you play, no matter what the hell you do with your life. It's still going on. And I think overall, that's what's more disgusting in my eyes. Like to see that shit still going on in this world.